What's up, YouTube? I know it's been a while. I've done a lot. I apologize I've not recorded along the way, but there is good reason for that. Part of that reason is a lot of the things I was working on are very fiddly. I went into Blender and did a bunch of stuff. So I would imagine you guys would not want to watch me fail at Blender for 4 hours at a time. But I can give you kind of a quick update. There is a lot that I have done so far. So let's take a look at some stuff here. I'm not going to go fully into it, but I will show you the snapping system for the building. I kind of created my own and asked Cursor if that would work. It said yes, so I made a test. It worked. So then I put it on every single building piece. So now if I add another building piece, it's pretty simple to get it back in. Where am I? Let's just open one of these. Okay. That's not even the one I'm using. So here's the snapping system. Basically, the logic behind it is while they're holding a building piece, if they look at one of these this little collision shape right here, it will tell it to snap to a very specific snap point in a specific direction. And then every single building piece has every single type of object that can build or snap to it. So from walls, I don't know why I'm not seeing my foundations at the moment. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Oh, and these are off. Why are these off? I was probably working on it. So yeah, a lot of work, a lot of manual kind of work that I had to grind through to create all these, line them all up, do all the snap points. It did all the logic behind everything, but I kind of came up with the concept of how I wanted the snapping to work, because just getting the build preview close enough to it and it snapping to it was not working. We've got a lot of other things going on. I've added a lot of different building pieces. I got a settings menu now, which took like one prompt. We are going to kill the music, which has been driving me nuts. So if you go into here, you can change your resolution. I literally just told it, I'm like, hey, go make me a settings menu. I want video, sound, and controls. And then I just give a drop down for different resolution types. Windowed, not windowed, which doesn't appear to be working. I'll have to fix that. Not a big deal. Brightness also doesn't appear to be working. Not a problem. I threw this up and then tested just a couple things and kind of moved on. I was working on something else, so we're going to not save that. We are going to go into the game. So I don't know if I showed you this yet. I asked for a new host menu, which allowed me to, I can pick the size of the map right here, how many resource nodes spawn, what the respawn time is, a super flat world that allows me to just build on it, and then allow building on any terrain regardless if it's flattened or not, because I have the terraforming system, right? So we'll just turn that on so I don't have to terraform, and we can go into a game. I added some loading bars, which are accurate to show progress, and also to throw commands in there to stop the loading at certain times and play that message. Otherwise, it will try to jam everything, try to load everything all at once, and sometimes freeze on larger maps, so it kind of chunks it out. All right, so as you can probably hear, I now have sounds for walking. Okay, I got these nodes. You'll probably notice the map looks a little different. I now have a day and night cycle. One of the things that I find myself doing is say, hey, make an item, call it admin clock, and then give me a command wheel, which allows me to change what time of day it is on the fly, so I can test how things look and stuff like that. Cursor did perfect on the command wheel in terms of everything works. I mean, you can even drag past it, which is awesome. There's so much that I've done. So, all right, we'll change it to morning. I've got my building scroll here. I do realize all the text is overlapping. These are actually this is gonna be bigger and probably just have pictures of what you'd be placing. But we got a lot of different building pieces now, which is super fun. We're gonna go like this. Oh yeah, different sounds when I'm walking on the foundations. I got triangle building pieces working, which is awesome. This is some of the fiddly stuff I did in Blender, where I created some windows in the walls. You can shoot through them. I've also I've done a lot of stuff, guys. I've also updated the fireball. I got, let's take a look here. I got my castle door here. I got this mesh off of Trippo, threw it into Blender, and animated it. Now, when I first threw the door into Blender, I looked up some videos how to animate a door, and it was like other YouTube videos that was going to take like an hour and a half, and I'm like, there's no way. So I went in ChatGPT and I said, write me a script to put into Blender to animate my door. And boom, there you go. Very cool. It just uses the snap point system that I use for like the walls and stuff like that. So there's like an invisible mesh right here. So when the player ray casts or looks at it while having the door selected, it will snap right to it, right? So the other thing I made is a spiral staircase. What I like about this is I just told Cursor, hey, I want the player to be able to press R and rotate it. Obviously, I knew what degrees. These are equilateral triangles. If you're going to do any sort of building system, you will very quickly find out you're going to be using equilateral triangles. But those are all 60-degree angles. So I got that up and running. It'll even snap again. And then you're off to the races. We can get some walls here. I'm very excited for this. Let's go with this guy. I can do about this much before I'll just run into the roof. I don't know how to solve that. I might do some like quarter wall snaps or something, which might be cool. I don't know. We will see. Now, every castle has got to have a battlement on it. So I'm going to slap these guys on here. So this is again some more stuff that was just fiddly in Blender. It took me hours. I'm not a Blender guy, but we now have part of a castle. So let's slap a doorway right here. Let's throw a normal wall right there. I made some stairs. They are supposed to clip into the ground, just kind of based on height. Okay, and then we're gonna go to, let's throw a door. Let's go in through this guy. Fantastic. So some of the other things that I have done, that's pretty much it for those. You guys have seen the other ones, right? I also have triangle ceilings, obviously. Let's do this. Let's throw these guys up. Actually make it look a little decent. Okay, halfway built castle, go. All right, I created a wall torch. So I got this out off of Trippo. There's a tutorial on YouTube on how to make the flames out of the particle system, and I just use those also for the fireball spell, which actually looks pretty dang good. If you notice, you can hear these as well. So I found some. You can go online and get a ton of sounds. You can just say like free fire sound or free ambient sound, free footsteps, all that kind of stuff. You can find a lot of this online. These do have lighting on them, as you can kind of see right now, but we're gonna go to nighttime. So pretty cool looking once you get everything set up. Okay, what else do we got? I have just added, just now, before I started recording, I don't know why it does that. Oh, I also added a hammer, which allows me to destroy things, and then eventually I'll be able to upgrade the walls. If you're familiar with the game Rust, it's kind of the same concept. There's my pickaxe. Oh, terraforming mode's on, that's why. Okay, so we're gonna change it to morning, and we're gonna go select our hatchet, which I got off of Trippo. I got some sounds off of online for free, chopped them up in Audacity. I got like 3 or 4 sounds for the hatchet off of one sound file, and then I just tell it to use, one at random out of those, so it's not the same sound every single time. And then I got a sound for the pickaxe, did the exact same thing. I also made it so the pickaxe can only hit 1 node at a time and not go through 2. So the logic behind the trees, where they have 1,000 wood, you get 100 each, and then it falls down. I need to do that to the nodes now. So we can move over to that. Let's take a look here. So as you can see, I just did the trees. Let's make the other nodes the same logic. Here are their totals. Here are their total source amounts. So we're gonna do stone, 1,000. We're gonna do 800 sulfur. I kind of want to do that. Okay, so I'll scroll up here to my last prompt. Okay, I need each tree to have 1,000 wood, and when the player hits the tree, they get 100 wood until the tree has no more. Right now, it's 100 per tree. So I did all the logic. So now, what's cool about Cursor is it really knows what it's doing and what it's done before. So I can just say, let's make the other nodes have the same logic. Here are their totals. Doesn't really need to be correct. Here are their total resource amounts, and let it go off to the races. Let's see what we got here. Can flip over here, over to Trippo. Trippo's all right. It cannot handle certain things like bows. Really doesn't like bows. Here's that wall torch, right? And it does scrolls pretty well. For some reason, it will, if you do like a T-pose on something and then the next thing you don't do a T-pose, there's no T-pose on here, it will put it in a T-pose. This was supposed to be a window, castle window, just the window only, and it literally made the letter T. So it's a little finicky, but I have got a good amount of assets. You know, I've got some chests. I have another version of grass right here, so I need to get some foliage in the map. So we'll take a look here. Looks like it's done. Same behavior. Last hit can get 50. That's fine. No changes are needed. Okay. There's also some other free assets online where I'm gonna throw a horse in here if I find one for free. That's actually free with the animations. On the animation side of things, that's gonna be another kind of fiddly one because I'm gonna need different animations for, you know, swings and stuff like that with different weapons. I really need to get the bows in here, but let's take a look at our nodes. Okay, a little grinding action already. I might speed this up just a little bit on the swing. Okay, we got 800 on that. That sounds good. I believe these are the gold ones, if I remember right. It's an interesting mesh on there. Yep, 500. I'm not going to do the stone for 1,000. I'm not going to sit here and make you guys watch that. Where is the sulfur? There we go. I want to know how it handles the 50. But yeah, I've been working on sounds, which make things, it's just makes it way more immersive. It's really weird running around with no sound. I asked it to do the day and night cycles and add volumetric fog. That's why it looks a little bit foggy. And we'll go back to the admin clock. So here's midday. Here's what evening looks like. I actually don't mind the fog. I try to reduce it during the day just a little bit, but it's really not a big deal. Here's what night looks like. I don't know how to get rid of this banding. It might just be Godot and how it does shading, but yeah, so we got day and night cycles, which I'm super excited for. It's got a 21-minute day cycle and like a 10 or 12-minute night cycle. So if I actually stood here, it would gradually move. Storage system is still up and running. The bloomery works and can be placed on building pieces, which took a little bit of finesse. I think that's pretty much it so far. So we can try, the other thing I want to try here is let's make a respawn point, right? So where they can place down a bag, if you will, like a sleeping bag or a place to sleep, and that's where they respawn after they die. Let's take a look. This is like the best one I had. This, for some reason, is just getting weirder and weirder. This is probably the closest. What is this? Sleeping mat. I'm gonna go to downloads here. That was a while ago. I might just re-export this guy. Here it is. Okay, so this is gonna go under my placeables. There's probably a way better organization system, but it's just what makes sense in my mind. Okay, cool. So we've got this in here. Now we're gonna copy the path. That's the easiest thing. And we're gonna go into cursor. Okay, now I want to place world. I'll make a scene with it and etc. Like the other placeable items. Like this one, when the player places, it creates a respawn. Creates a respawn point where player respawns after they die. Let's give it a go. See what happens. So yeah, like I said, there's just been a lot of manual like sizing this stuff, right? These collisions, these blue boxes, and figuring out kind of how I want it. For all the snapping, that took a while. Obviously, you can kind of see what's going on here. And then making things like a spiral staircase in Blender. I'm not a Blender guy, so nobody wants to watch me fail at Blender for hours. But what was cool is Blender takes scripts, and all these LLMs can make scripts. So I just go to ChatGPT and I say, I want a spiral staircase. I want it to be, the diameter 6 meters and this high. And then I want the treads to be this much. And then it goes and makes it. And then you just copy the script into Blender. So if you go into Blender, remove all that, do whatever, go to scripting at the top, click on new, copy and paste your script, press Alt P as in Paul, and it will generate the item over here. So, a lot of work. The other thing I found out is if you have objects in Blender that were created, if you copy and paste them, and then in Blender under the object name, the very last part of it, do _COL, it will automatically create the collision for it when it imports into Godot. So you don't have to go in and make it, which is awesome. All right, let's see where we're at here. Sleep mat placer, preview, whatever, and you can rotate. It checks for flat ground, so we'll see about that. It does a respawn on the player ID, a stack of 5. Okay, put sleep mat on a hotbar. Select it, move, preview, whatever. 1 mat is consumed. After death, you respawn there until you place another mat, which overwrites a respawn point. Okay, cool. Let's give it a go. So I will need both these windows open. This one goes full screen every time. I'm actually can change this. So let's do this. Might even go lower and turn this off. All right, I'm gonna host the game. Going to be able to make ourselves build. I have not done any testing in the joined player, also known as like for the players that join the hosted game. So for example, this is another player somewhere else over the internet that would be joining. So obviously they don't have, the inventory. I don't even think they can see the animations of the other player yet, right? I haven't really troubleshot that stuff yet, so I'm not super concerned about it. But what I am going to do is we're going to test this out. Number 1, such a weird way it puts these in here. I'm a little curious how this looks. Oh yeah, I added light to this too. So if it's nighttime, it actually looks pretty cool. Like it will light up, it'll light stuff up. Very interesting that the other player doesn't get the night when I change it nighttime. But regardless, it is weird. Sleep mat. There we go. Okay. It's pretty small. Okay. Not a problem. The other thing is going to be, I think that completely took it out of my inventory. So we are going to place a storage crate and see if I can get the spellbook in the other player's hand, but I don't think they can even see this. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. Okay. So, you know what? I want to test something. Is it just going to give me that spawn point, or is it also going to give it to the... Ow, 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 ouch. And he did. Okay, so it gave it to him as well, but can he move or is he glitched? Okay, cool. So that kind of works. I just have to make it unique per player. Ow, ow, ouch, 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 ouch. Definitely changing that sound. Ow, ow, ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. It's not too messy on the other player's screen as they're getting hit either. You can still kind of see what's going on. Ouch, 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 ouch. A huge... Ouch, 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 ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. And I also want to make the ragdoll look a lot better and actually ragdoll. Okay, so very cool. We got it to respawn our character pretty much in the first go. Okay, so each player, including the host player, place the sleeping mat. It needs to belong to them only for their respawn. See what it does. Yeah, this thing still has not tapped out on me at all. The only time it went slow was when you start getting up to how many lines of code it's doing. So it added 1500 to this and then minus 61. It's either changes or lines. When you are in the same agent, otherwise, like a chat, the same chat for a very long time, it'll start going slow. Just create a new one and you're off to the races. I'm on the $60 plan on Cursor. And I still haven't tapped it out, and I've been grinding at minimum 4 hours a day, if not more. So it has been doing amazing. Yeah, starting in full screen is getting a little bit annoying. Okay, that is also getting annoying. I might have that just default to being off at the start because testing this game over and over has been going crazy. But yeah, guys, it's cursor's insane. Did I just host? Gosh darn it. Let's do this. Cursor's insane. It's anything you can think of. My workflow has dramatically changed on how I approach solving things. You know, normally it'd be like, okay, I need to go look up a video or do some research online and that kind of stuff. But now it has changed to I'm literally asking AI first. If I haven't, usually it'll be like, I have my idea, I kind of wanted to do this and that, and I think this might be how it works. And then I'll ask AI and it'll either say yes, no, throw in some extra ideas into it or whatever. But like I said, animating a door on Blender, I had a YouTube video that was like an hour and a half long, and I'm like, this is insane. I'm not doing all this right now because I was exhausted. And I'm like, let me just see if AI will do it, and it did. So it's tough. I am starting with AI now. Like what's cool about this is I can be creative and have all whatever ideas I want, and then I can bring them to life. So let's get this sleeping mat somewhere that it lets me. Okay, that's good. Let's go kill our friend over here. If it lets me. I'm flying, I think. Yep.
Ouch, 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 ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch.
Oh yeah, he did. Okay, so he respawned over there, which is great. I don't think I can kill myself with this spell anymore because I fixed it. When I would shoot the ground previously, it would actually hurt me. But he did not respawn here. I'm hoping I'll have to write something in to where I can kill the player at will. The other things on the roadmap are going to be having an admin console where I can, as an admin, open it up, ban people, delete their entities, do all sorts of things, right? Kill someone, teleport someone, kind of do the administrative stuff, change the time, have a box to put it in. Oh, the other thing I didn't tell you guys is I created a global chatting, Chatty Cathy. That will broadcast to the server, as you can kind of see over here. I'm actually curious if it's going to work on this one. Yeah, it does. And then it fades away. And then when you open it, I told it I wanted to show the last 10 messages, right? So somebody wants to take a look at that. So I got global chat working. You know, on the hit list is VoIP and then protected building, stuff like that. But I toyed around a little bit with creating paths. So just some paths that are automatically generated throughout the map because I'm going to have some NPC towns that automatically spawn in. And then players can go to those. They're like monuments or points of interest where they can get loot and fight, you know, enemies. I've got an enemy that I am going to just use out of Trippo pretty much for testing. Or sorry, Miximo. Is this guy. Let me see. Looks a little creepy. I like it. So it'll be this dude right here, and he's gonna look like this, and he is going to, let's see what else we got. There was like a zombie swing that looked halfway decent. Oh, and he can do Thriller. Let's see what we got. He can die when you kill him, but he looks a little creepy. So I am gonna add him in to automatically spawn and hopefully get some sort of, you know, pathfinding to the player and then try to hit them. Ah, here it is. Okay. You know, just do a basic, hey, I'm clawing you. You have been clawed. And then it'll have health, and then when he dies, he'll like, look, you killed me. Okay. So that's the next thing. I got to get him in here. There's other animations I can kind of throw on him. I don't know how pathfinding works or any of that. Or like any sort of, you know, AI for NPCs, other than I imagine it's going to be really easy to be like, you know, he's within a radius. Go attack the player until one of you dies, kind of a thing. So we'll see. We'll see what that entails. I have a feeling there's going to be a little bit of manual stuff on there too. But that's the plan, right? Is I'm on the map. I did get it to where I can generate a very large map with the new kind of chunking system for the loading. It just takes a little while, but it makes a very large map. But it will spawn points of interest in random spots. That's the plan. What I do need are, you know, 3D assets. So I'm just working off free stuff, guys. I'm not out here, you know, buying a bunch of stuff. So I don't even know if you can download those. Some of these sites are like, yeah, downloadable and then free, and then you go click on it and it's $40. I'll eventually find some stuff to throw in there, at least for testing for now. You know, get some stuff in there, get some boxes and some NPCs that you can fight and randomly generate it in the world. And then the other plan from that is to make paths connecting, you know, monuments to monuments, and then things along the road you can interact with and collect resources to craft. So that's kind of where I'm at. I just wanted to give you guys an update, and I apologize I'm not recording every single minute of this, but again, you guys are not going to sit here and watch me fail at Blender for 6 hours straight. I wouldn't watch me do that. So I figure I show you guys just a couple things as I'm working on them in Cursor. Let's take a look here. So we got the nodes going. Let's do this. Let's get the door sound going. So sounds, right? If you go, let's see if I got it open. If you go here, Pixabay, royalty free, you type in the type of sound that you want. I want an open and close wooden door sound. Funny enough, the one that works is a fridge. That's the one I really like for the door compared to some of these other ones, which are just godly. I'm not having a player listen to that every time they open a door in the base. So I have put these in Audacity. So I'll kind of show you. If you go into Audacity, it is free. I used this way back in the day. Some of you OGs probably know exactly what this is. It's just an audio editor. I opened up the sound file. So let's just say the chopping wood one for now. And then, I don't know why it's not playing. But anyways, you can go in and just say, okay, I just want the actual hit sound of this. So you just select it, delete, play it, make sure it sounds good. And then you can export to your computer as wave. So that's what I did for the hit sounds. That's what I did for the doors that are opening and closing, which we're about to do right now. And notice this is just one big audio file with the door opening and closing with sounds. I just cut it up. So you just cut it up to which ones you want and you're off to the races. So let's go into here. Now I want to play sound when the player opens a door. Okay, and then I already put the sound in here that I snipped up. Final sounds right here. Why am I tripping? Yeah, like, oh, it brings me to the bottom. That's why. Okay, so final sounds. I got a 400 sound pack and I just dumped it in here so I can kind of play with it. There will come a point where I'm going to have Cursor go through every single file and tell me if it's used or not. And if it's not, I'm going to have it delete it at some point. So here's the torch fire. I found some fire sound online for the torch that I wanted to use. And I told it, hey, add sound to my torch. Let's go. Okay, so we're going to do this. New folder, door. I'm trying to keep things organized as much as I can so I don't have to go dig through tons of stuff like all this. Let's do open and close. Put those in there. So this one is open. I'm going to copy the path, tell Cursor where it is. I want to play a sound when the player opens a door and also when they close a door. Now, right now, I've got one type of door, right? At the time where I get another door going, like an upgraded door, again, if you're familiar with Rust, you've got like wooden doors, sheet metal doors, and armored doors, and garage doors, stuff like that have different hit points, take longer to blow up, or more resources. I will eventually have some version of that, but right now I only have one door, so we are going to have it add some sounds because there's no sounds when you open the door right now. We will see how this goes. Now, I believe the animation takes 2 seconds to open and 2 seconds to close. I could be wrong after fiddling with Blender, but we'll take a look. If you guys have any ideas of some things to add into this game, let me know. Again, if you want to be a part of it and make things for it, if you're whatever, if you just want to be a part of it, let me know. I am starting a Discord for the development of the game where people can hop in and I post updates on how far I'm getting, what I'm working on, what's the roadmap, and some ideas I'm throwing out there. There's going to be a lot to it. There's going to be magic. There's going to be altars with different statues for gods, stuff like that. A lot of cool stuff, different mobs that you wouldn't traditionally see in a survival game. I'm trying to jam pack it with everything that I miss when I think about the game that Rust was going to make for fantasy, right? So Okay, cool. Not a problem. Let's do this. I actually get very rare it crashes on startup. Okay, cool. That's gonna be the end of me, that music. Getting a collision mesh to follow with the actual door animation, things like that take a while if you don't know what you're doing. So it's a fun learning experience, especially when you get it right eventually. There have been a couple times where I've worked on something for probably 6 hours straight, and then I finally got it and I jumped out of my chair kind of excited, and my wife like freaked out. So it's really fun. Let's see. Love it. Okay, that needs to play about 1 second later on the door close. I like the door open. So okay, so that worked. For door close, it needs to have a 1 second delay before playing. Also for both sounds, I want it to be heard from 15 tiles away. It should hit slowly to 0 at 15 tiles. Okay, get a little bit of distance so you can kind of hear from afar if doors are opening and closing. I don't know what the distance was currently set to, but we're going to give this a go. 1 second delay on the door close, that's fine. Both sounds, slow fade. So the volume stays strong up close and gradually drops off over distance. Sound is inaudible past 15. Just 1 second. Okay, let's see what happens. It's this easy. It's kind of a game of like create your own building blocks and then have it script those building blocks in how you want them. Is what it's turning out to be. And then any idea, I'm not cautious. If I have any idea, I will throw it in there, and at the very beginning of that prompt, I'll say, be ready to undo this, which in my mind, it makes it easier to undo. Not that it's had any problems undoing anything, but yeah. Okay. Pretty close, right? It's like just a hair off. And it's like this, right? The fiddly stuff of like, it's just like, it just doesn't feel right. It kind of looks right. It's a hair off. Okay, so what we're gonna do, maybe I'm crazy, but okay, the door close delay changed to 0.7 seconds instead of 1 second. The other thing with these agents, what I try to do doesn't always work out. Actually, most of the time it doesn't work out. But if you try to do like one topic of what you're doing per agent, and then what I do is it usually grabs like the very first prompt you do. So I'll name my very first prompt so I can go back and like tree node mesh replacement, whatever. I try to keep it doing the same kind of work on the same kind of stuff, because I want to fill it up with that kind of information so it knows about the system you're working on. If you keep bouncing around, you'll fill up that context, right? The messaging will get too long and it'll start going slow, and then you got to go to a new agent that doesn't really know what you worked on before. Not to say that it's caused problems for me, but it's just kind of, I think, the better route to go. All right, let's test this. Maybe I'm crazy. You know what? Let's do this on. I really like the building system the way it came out. Now let's do a door. Let's do some stairs. Yep, here's my base. Okay, yep, that's perfect. Love it. All right, guys, this will be a pretty short one, I would imagine, but that's kind of the update of what's going on. Every feature, you know, with the sounds and the hitting and the nodes and the getting objects in here, right? Getting additional objects in here and adding them in snap points. There's a lot of manual stuff, but there's also, I just straight up go into cursor and tell it what to do. You know, next on the list, I'm going to try to get a bow in here so we can actually have some bow and arrow fights. I think that'd be pretty cool. And then do some animations for the swords instead of just that one swing. That also lends itself to breaking up the animation into a top half of the character and the bottom half of the character, which is definitely needed. So if you look at this skeleton, right, I am 98% sure I can do this. But when he walks around and he swings, his swing animation, his feet aren't moving, but he can still move around, right? So it kind of looks janky. I'm pretty sure, because I've already asked Grok this, but I can break up and play one animation for the top half of the body and one animation for the bottom. So he can run around, his feet will run around while he's running, and then the top half could be holding something, swinging, whatever, and it's not going to mess with the feed. So that is definitely one of the next things I'm going to be adding. All right, YouTube, thanks for hanging out. I will try to post more as I go. And if I do anything big, I'll definitely record it as well. See you guys on the next one.